Hello drivers! I finally beat some of Delray, AudreyN and Victoria's hardest Sherbet missions. I am making this walkthrough video of my attempts to show you the challenge of this achievement, and I will also provide you with some tips so that you can also try to beat them yourself. Because even if you know what to do, you will still need to master the controls and get a little bit of luck at some key places. There are also some factors that can explain why I finally beat these missions. First, I was not swimming, so I was able to be more concentrate on my trajectories, not having to speak at the same time. Secondly, and I think it was the best improvement, I finally played with a controller instead of the keyboard, and the cars felt so much easier to drift, accelerate, and it prevents a lot of the weird spins I was doing at almost each turn. I am now playing with a DualShock 4 and I was always much closer to the chase cars in these very difficult missions. Speaking of them, it has to be noted that Sherbet made the chase car a little bit easier to follow when he had to record them again after the September update of the driver Syndicate. And finally, I should not forget that I've tried so much these missions that I started to know them by heart, and it was very helpful, especially in takeaway, which I will talk about soon, because these missions are still very hard and took me a lot of attempts. Let's start with the last mission of Delray, the one where you have to chase the gentleman's car or something like that. I'm quite confused with the storyline of the missions, to be honest, but it doesn't prevent me to enjoy them. If you have watched my first stream, you know I failed as much as I tried, but now, thanks to the few tweaks I talked earlier and the optimization issues fixed that made a particular jump very tricky to cross a bridge, it's now a very difficult mission, but manageable to beat. There are a few places where you can take an alternative road which will make the chase a little bit easier, because you will avoid the crashed vehicles the chasing car will project on the road thanks to its infinite mass behavior. The RNG or randomness came from the cop cars, which are also chasing you, and they can really screw your own chase if you get felony fast and they start to bump into you. So that's the jump I was talking about. Before the last update, it was lagging as hell at this place, so not the best setting to cross the bridge, by being very cautious to avoid spinning on the landing, while keep being close to the blue car and avoiding as much as possible any collisions. After that, you have to hope for the cops to not spawn in front of you, because you need to take a slight turn at full speed and then sharp turn, avoiding the water that will slow you as much as you can without losing sight of the car you are chasing. It is then that several attempts are useful for you to remember a little of how to proceed. When everything is going well, you still have the continuous maze at the end of the chase to successfully pass. I prefer to stay on the road and wait for the chase car to do the maze by itself before resuming the chase. The problem with that strat, however, is that there will always be a cop roadblock, so you have to be careful to not take too much damage while waiting for the blue car. And you will need the less damaged car you can, because when you thought the mission will end with the chase, well, you are wrong, because you have to go back to the safe house, which isn't close at all. You will also be chased by cops at max felony and by civilians' car, which don't make a lot of sound, so be careful, because they can still damage you and end up failing your mission. I really don't know how I managed to reach the safe house with so few health left. Thanks to my Red Weavers, DriverDimension.com, French Contact, Neurosins, Tenkona YouTube, Emmett McLaughlin and Paul Lanois. Being a member not only supports me to keep making 100 driver content video, but it also allows you to use stickers in the comments of my videos and in the live stream. Click on the join button for more. I almost thought the bus will end up my hopes and dreams, but thankful McNally, no chaser's car spawned near the end objective. Now I want to talk about Takeaway, the 6th mission of AudreyN City, because it's also a chase mission, but in my opinion it suffers from mission design issues that Delray didn't have. While it's set in a rainy mood which tends to limit the run distance, and I can totally understand that it makes the chase a little bit harder due to this aspect which is justified by the weather, it doesn't explain why we don't have the car we are chasing indicated on the minimap, and we don't even have a red arrow showing it. Add the fact that there are cars chasing you as well, not making any sounds and trying to bump you in the worst places possible. It's clearly one of the missions where you really need to know exactly which way the car is going to take, because there are times where you will take a leap of faith and hope you remembered well the correct way. The RNG is once more your best or worst ally. Right at the start the traffic can screw your attempt, but you will also pray a few times after that there isn't an upcoming car coming your way when you turn, trying to not lose the sport car going very fast. I was very lucky at the end that I kinda remembered the way I needed to take, because I didn't see at all the grey car in the grey rainy mood. While you are watching the successful walkthrough of this mission, even though it was very messy at some places, it allows me to talk a bit about the channel before going next. As you may know, YouTube changed its algorithm at the end of August, and once more it hurt the small channels like me through the recommendations feature. For the month of September it didn't show too much damage because I post a lot of video for the Driver San Francisco week as well as starting the live streams, but I only managed to get the usual views for that month with twice the videos posted. October on the other hand wasn't a very active month for me, and it ended up being the worst month of the channel this year. But I don't want to easily reject this entirely on YouTube algorithm changes, so I'm open to any suggestions or feedbacks of any other factors that could explain this big drop of views and audience interaction for October. I know you must hear it on every video, but every likes and comments have a big impact on the recommendation feature. YouTube uses them to estimate if the audience is pleased with the content, and then it may or may not be recommended the video to a bigger audience. So if you like the content about Driver, don't hesitate to drop a like and to comment, as it can help November to not become my worst 2020 month. Anyway, we have arrived at the airport, and by miracle I didn't lose the car, and it allowed me to beat this challenging mission in AudreyN. And last mission of today's video, although we can agree there are other missions as hard as the one I'm talking about for now, the 6th one of Victoria, the famous obstacles mission driving a pygmy. I can say for sure that this mission is not possible with the keyboard, and I was very satisfied to notice how easier it is to take turn, landing my jump and such without spinning when I was using a controller. It doesn't mean it's now an easy mission at all, because you need to be as close as possible to the chasing cars since they will never slow down, and you can't have a large gap for the second part of the mission. First part isn't that hard anymore, although the second cop car can push you and make you fail your obstacle crossing, but to be honest, I do miss it by myself a few times as well. The problem is that you can't try it again without restarting entirely the mission. Once you go to the second part, that's where the derangement of Sherbet will start to be really noticeable. You get a mess you can't bypass, and basically you need to know all the turns, because if you make a single mistake, it's game over. At the end there is a big jump for which you need to be at full speed to pass it. I wasn't fast enough the first time, and I was really wondering if trying to go back will make the mission fail, but hopefully not. You could still fail if you don't land on the wheels, I guess. The challenge is hard with these missions, but once you have beaten them, you are quite happy of yourself, so I can't recommend enough you to try them. Sherbet has already made new missions for Chicken Hill that I will surely try in a live stream soon, but with a controller this time, so I'm hoping it will be a little bit easier, but who knows. See you soon, drivers.